Okay, we're rolling.
We're rolling?
Yeah.
Hi!
Okay. It's my buddy Jacob Cox. What's up, brother?
Hey Randy, how are you doing?
So what do you want to dive into?
I was thinking about diving into a little bit of the prophecies of the past. Maybe mixing a little bit of that with the science of today about what's going on in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've known Jacob for a while, but what I've seen is he's like a lifelong seeker. You're always traveling to Peru and Mexico and looking into just deeper knowledge, right?
Yeah.
David Wilcock and all these people that you've studied. So what do you think is coming soon?
What do I think is coming soon? I think that's a big question. There's a lot coming soon, right? To me, the biggest thing that I feel like all prophecies and what science seems to be revealing today is the pole shift. You know, this is something Albert Einstein said and Edgar Cayce said have happened in the past and will happen again, no doubt about it. And science is confirming that the poles have shifted many times throughout history, and the last times that they've shifted have been more recent, as in they shifted, that shifted more recent in recent times. So it's getting to be quicker and quicker and quicker in the recycle of things. So I think that's what we're in. There's no doubt about that the planet, the solar polarities are already shifting, the North and South Pole. Airports that were built just a couple of decades ago are 10 degrees off from the initial magnetic north that they were built to, and I think that is what's causing a lot of the chaos and the things that are happening on our planet to build up to this final, just complete shift, which may end up, once the planet's solar polarities do shift, the crust could shift with it. Many people
like an orange peel.
Yeah, basically, like if you cut it out somehow and put it back in,
right?
It could, yeah.
And this is like connected. So that's like the physical part, but it's definitely connected to the spiritual part. So it's correlated with the shift in consciousness, which we are. So it's correlated with who we are as a species is going to the next level, basically.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, ending here at the 26,000 year mark of the precession of the equinoxes, and we're moving back into the age of Aquarius. The Bible even talks about, that Christ would be with us till the end of the eon, which actually means age. So we were in the age of Pisces, and we're going into the age of Aquarius, and they talk about, look for the water bearer, or the person carrying the water, and that's the sign of Aquarius, is a man carrying water, and that's the sign that we're moving into. So I think that's exactly what we're saying. We're going back to reset, as in we die and we reincarnate back into bodies,
right.
We start that process.
And that's the third density. That's like where most people are at right now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the level of consciousness to where we are kind of trapped in a reincarnation cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal here, or for me, or for anyone who wants to choose that path, is to basically get out of that loop.
Right. Yes.
And it's to rise to the next level.
Yes. I think that's what a lot of the spiritual practices talk about was what the resurrection is. It's not that one person resurrected, but in Tibet there's 180,000 plus stories of people who ascended up in heaven or walked into heaven and their clothes fell to the ground or disappeared into nothing or to light. Kind of like we see on Star Wars where Yoda or Obi-Wan Kenobi they kind of just turn into nothing.
Right.
That's someone.
Into light.
Yeah, it's light. It's just kind of just easy transition back into the ether. That's what we are. And then you no longer have to be born into a body and forget that you're all that is, ever has been, ever will be. And you're not just this little person, you're everything that there is. So I think that's that break of the karmic cycle, the enlightenment that you get to live on from that point on, knowing who you are, never forgetting again.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like down the road, but I think we're coming into we're like in third density transitioning to fourth density, and I don't think that's going to happen like that. Like, I don't think it's going to happen when there's like a solar flash and then everyone's going to be ascended. It might, but I don't know. That's kind of what I'm feeling, is it's going to be a longer transition than Like I've heard in 2030 we're gonna get a solar flash,
Mm-hmm.
which is gonna shift everything, and it might like it's gonna shift our consciousness, but it's almost like we're coming into a psychedelic state
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't end.
Right.
So from that point, I don't think we're all gonna just transform into light bodies. I think that's a longer transition than a split second.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that could be correct. I mean, we really don't know,
Right.
unless we're full enlightened, and we know. But it seems that these processes seem to be fast. I mean, for someone like myself that used to be a bartender, or live a completely different life than I do now, and then something happens to you. Maybe it's a breakup, maybe it's a psychedelic or a plant medicine experience, and then all of a sudden you're a completely different person.
Right, yeah.
It's just one thing that happens one time that totally shifts you. Like, I could never go back to that way
Yeah,
of
that's
life
the same
anymore.
with me.
So there are things that happen in my world and my reality that make me think that things could change on a quicker note. And even the Bible refers to a shift that happens in the twinkling of an eye, that we should all be changed. And I mean, if the poles were to flip, if a solar flare was to hit, I mean, like, it seems to me that the lighter density people who have let go of this karmic traumas and emotions and things that have happened, who are lighter, who are able to kind of almost maybe pop in and out of dimensions for a second so that these things aren't affected. Volcanoes, earthquakes, it's like a solar flare from the sun. You may not be affected of it. And that's why maybe two people could be standing next to each other. One person could just completely shift into another density, another dimension. You wouldn't see them. To you, they're gone. But to them, they're still there. They're just not in that frequency where this negative, bad thing is happening. And there have been, throughout history, all books kind of talk about some event that's happened, and a lot of times beings helping them out, bringing them underground or into caves or out into space to come back. So it's possible that this could be something that does happen quickly. It does seem like everything's happening much more faster. We're evolving much more faster.
So also what I've heard though is like you talk about how something major catastrophic could happen, but I've heard that possibly the only people that would experience that in a traumatic way is the people that have a lot of karma that they haven't burned yet. So like people that are very dark and have done satanic evil things. Like there's evil people on this planet that do Luciferianism and very dark things that we don't always want to look at. But I've heard these people that are very dark in what they're doing. All that karma that they've built up, they're the ones that are going to experience real pain through the process. And those people with a pure heart basically will experience joy through that process, whatever that looks like. So it's like igniting the karma within, in a sense.
Right. Yeah. No. I agree. I think as we are starting to realize that manifestation is happening much more quicker, it's almost like the things that we think about, whether bad or good. People don't like me. We're starting to find people who don't like us instantly. Or whatever the situation is. I think manifestation is happening much more quicker. The veil is dissolving, so things seem to be coming to us much quicker, whatever we think about. So I think if you think it's the end of the world, then that's probably what you'll experience. For instance, the Bible talks about the 7 years trial and tribulation period that happens, but it also talks about this 1,000 years of peace that happens on this planet after those things happen.
See, that's what I think we're coming into is like 7 years of darkness almost, right? Or 7 years of chaos, whatever it looks like. But I want to talk about that too, because you said the veil is lifting, and I think it's important for all of us to kind of get rid of our cognitive dissonance of what we think reality is, and try to embrace what's happening on the world, because a lot of stuff's going to come out. It is coming out, and a lot of things are about to unroll that are going to be really hard to look at. But it's like, it takes looking at it and looking at the darkness, and that's how we transcend it.
Right.
And that's how we accept it, and that's how we create a better world. We can't create a better world if we're scared to see what's happening right now and we turn the other way.
Right.
So a lot of this is just pulling the goggles off, right?
Yeah, the blinders. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah, We are. I mean, and the literal word apocalypse means the lifting of the veil. Something
Right.
that's to be disclosed. It's hidden from the majority of mankind.
Yep.
It's not really about gloom and doom. It's about something that's been hidden from us, and now we're able to be revealed to see it. That's what
Right.
that's what apocalypse means in the Greek word, where it came from. So that's where I think we are. We're been able to see that there is some people behind the doors who are doing some bad things and
Right.
probably feeding off humans' emotions and
Right.
our energies,
Yeah.
using us kind of like the Matrix as batteries, as you
Yeah.
know, sources so they can do whatever they want. But that's great because at the end of the day, like,
They're like you could see it as kind of like a parasite
mhm.
feeding on humans.
Yeah, you can. To me, when I was working before I was doing this stuff, I had a great job and everything, but like I felt a little bit like I was being taken advantage of. I was doing a lot of work for probably not enough recognition or maybe not enough money as I wanted to have, and so when I finally realized like I'm being taken advantage of was also the moment when I realized I have worth. I'm worthy. I can only be taken advantage of if I'm worthy.
Yeah.
Right? So then I have to have some worth. So
That makes sense.
that's a great thing. It's like, wow, dude, you actually, although I'm really angry at you because you didn't pay me enough or you didn't give me enough, praise or whatever it is.
Obviously, you had value.
Yes, I had value. So the only way you can take advantage of me is if I have value.
Sure.
So if someone else is taking advantage of me and taking my value, then I could take it back and I say thank you.
You could put it in another direction.
Right. So I think everything is how you want to look at it. How do I want to look at this thing today? I can look at it a negative way, or I can look at it a way that empowers me. And the most peace, the most happiness I've found in my life is taking those things, and that's what is transmuting that darkness or whatever it is in your life. Like these negative things that happened. How can I make that work for me? How can I make that motivate me, benefit
Right,
me?
and how we look at it actually changes the outcome.
Yes.
Because our focus is what creates. Like our intention doesn't really create. We think it does, but if we're focusing on something else, that's where the energy is going to flow, right?
Right. I mean, not only that, but like you create the past, present, and future based on your idea of what the reality is. So like, if someone took advantage of you as a child, molested you or something, you could spend your entire now and future and looking at the past and saying, oh, that's something terrible that happened to me. And you have every right to think that. You have every right to be upset. And you have every right to be mad at people. Or you can say, look at that thing that I went through, how much stronger a person I am now, and I can help others get through that thing because I've been through it. And I wouldn't be able to help somebody because that didn't happen to me. I wasn't molested as a child or anything. So how could I relate to someone who did, and how could I help them, other than offering my own traumas and things. But it's just not the same. But someone who's been there, who's done that, who's had that experience, you're probably a much better candidate to help others. And then if you were to be a counselor and help thousands of people, you use that thing that was a negative as a positive.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
transmuting darkness to light.
Right. And without that thing happening initially, you could have never really been that counselor.
Right.
I mean, you could, but you probably wouldn't have the compassion. For me, I was in a car accident when I was a little kid. I went back to school in a wheelchair, and I was made fun of and everything. And at the time, that's terrible. When you look back at it, I think like the reason I work with kids today is because I have compassion for people with special needs and people in wheelchairs, and I want to help them because I had a little bit of idea of what it's like not to walk. I have a little bit of idea what it's like to be different.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I would be the same person. I don't think I would be in the same field if it wasn't for that experience. So I have to honor that and say, man, that part of the journey was tough, but I'm tougher because of it.
Right. And that's what I usually see too. It's like people that are strong, or you can tell like they've grown a lot as a person, they usually have some suffering.
Yeah.
And like that's the point of the darkness, right? This darkness is here. Even this parasite on the planet, the Satanism, the really dark things are here to awaken us and transmute it and to rise, basically.
Yeah, if you think about it, like, this is something that happens on probably lots of planets, right? There are organisms that become sentient beings who are, hominids, walk around on two legs, they may look similar to us, they may look a little different, but I think the Fibonacci sequence says they look similar to us, 2 eyes and mouth, one nose for the most part. But I think, so this happens on a regular basis everywhere, like people become sentient. I think eventually, beings probably do have less hair because they spend more time indoors, and beings
Less hair?
Yeah, I mean
Like this?
I mean like just overall, like Sasquatch people are what we see as Neanderthals, Cro-Magnon man, Paleolithic man, or like Sasquatch people. They're no necks. Their arms go down to their kneecaps. They have huge bones, which would harbor huge muscles. Even a 5 foot tall Neanderthal would just take 10 men out, no problem. I mean, they're just gorilla upright walking people. They're not Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens are completely different from everything that's ever walked the face of the planet. I don't think we smell as good, see as good, hear as good. We're not as strong. Yeah. So it's almost like we're de-evolving. But I do think at some point our evolution takes us to a point where we probably become less hair. We grow bigger brains. You know, our back of our heads probably elongate to have more brain capacity. But so we get to this process, but it takes millions of years, right, for people to evolve that without any interference. What I think has happened, and I think what you're saying also too a little bit, is that there has been some interference. Somebody has interfered with the DNA on our planet. Somebody has taken some of these hominoids and interbred them with some other beings that came from other places and kind of using us, you know, kind of using our energy as batteries to do things, using our emotions, feeding off that. What I see that, you know, people say they see that as bad, but at the end of the day, the same thing with the taking advantage of you. Once we realize that someone is doing this, we've kind of physically evolved quicker, and our mental state is not adjusted to that. But once we start to realize other things have happened, and it's just what it is, but we can take back our world, we can take back our planet, we can be sovereign beings again, and the mental catches back up to the physical body. That's the thing is, it's like pulling a rubber band down. Somebody pulled the rubber band down to give it that potential energy, and then finally we no longer let them pull it, and it just pops up, and we get to a level. We've been held down. You know, we're supposed to evolve like this. We've been pulled down, and
suppressed and manipulated.
Yeah, exactly. When we finally let go, boom, we pop up to a level. You know what I mean? And that's where I do think it can happen quickly. These changes, whether they're education, politics, philosophies, ideas, you know, technologies, can happen fast. I really do.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good analogy, because like that's what's been going on. We've been suppressed for thousands of years, and now I think we're at a tipping point to where the people and the beings that have suppressed us for so long, it's like we're having to take these guys out, or Source is taking these guys out. No matter how we want to look at it, I think these beings, this force that's been suppressing us, is kind of getting swept off the planet. Hopefully sooner than later. Mm-hmm. But I think we're going to have to learn to become responsible for ourselves, because we've basically been like cattle with farmers farming us. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to learn how to grow our own food, how to take technology and use it for good rather than manipulation. And it's like we're almost stepping into a time where we have to be responsible. Mm-hmm. We have to sober up. We have to like get off the fucking booze and cigarettes, and it's like we have to become adults.
And the chemical-induced foods.
Right.
I think that's more than anything, the drugs that we're under that drug state of eating these things that aren't even food. It's just chemical compounds of garbage that we're just filling our bodies with, and we're just all like
we're like under complete mind control and hypnosis. So when that goes away, it's like, oh shit, the veil is lifted.
Yeah, right.
That's where we're at. Like I do believe we're coming into a really positive world, but it might be a little chaotic through that process, huh?
It's always darkest before the dawn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. It's always darkest before the dawn, and you got to crack some eggs to make an omelet. I mean, bad and good is relative to everyone, you know. Mm-hmm. And for me personally, I don't really believe in bad and good. I believe it is, and there's isness, and I can extract isness and do whatever I want with it. I can make it bad, I can make it good, positive, negative, but like things just are. And we get to decide what we do with the R, you know, or what the isness. So it's just something that you have to decide what you do with it. I do think that we are taking those things back, and that's exactly what I said about education. You know, the education that we're learning is just a regurgitation of facts, and as opposed to what can you eat outside that's healthy and good. You know, if you're in the woods, or how do you grow crops and fruit and vegetables, and how do you build solar panels? How do you know what I mean? Like, how do you?
Yeah, I mean, even solar panels. I think that's gonna be like pathetic compared to what technologies are gonna come out.
Like, free energy.
Like the technology that's coming out is like gonna be so beyond anything we see today.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Free energy.
Once the forces take their hand off, or peel their hand off.
Yeah. I mean, I think more than the day. I think oftentimes we want to do something about it and get angry and get mad and everything, but like really, I think a lot of it's just believing and doing what we think is right in the world really changes it more than anything. Like Mother Teresa once said, if you want to invite me to like a protest, then I won't come. But if you want to invite me to like a love rally, I'll come. I'll be there. And people say, well, this is the same thing, but they're not. Like anti-war and protesting that is like fighting anti-war. So
Right.
you make it a thing. You know what I mean? As opposed to just
it's like resistance.
Yeah, right. As opposed to just what do we focus on and give our attention to? Where attention goes, energy flows. So like, are we giving our attention to anti-war, or are we giving our attention to love? You know what I mean? And just saying those words, anti-war and love, they just have two different resonances of
Right.
what I want to be a part of and what I want to put my energy towards.
Yeah. So basically, we're coming into this new age, and we have to prepare ourselves. And I think we're given a choice. Like, it's our choice to step into that responsibility, to that sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there might be a separation. I don't know. Hopefully, everyone comes aboard to this new earth, to this new paradigm, and releasing the old belief systems. Really, it's like letting go of all the old belief systems that we were programmed with, and surrendering to something new.
Right.
Is there anything you want to wrap it up with?
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, every prophecy talks about, 1,000 years of peace, or a new golden age, or a new Kali Yuga, or just something that's amazing, where free energy is available, where we get along with each other, we love each other, we work together and grow crops together, and, it's just this incredible world, like Atlantis or Lemuria, High Brazil, these incredible civilizations that just had plenty of everything, and nobody needed anything, there weren't homeless people. And so to me, it's just like that's an awesome place to move into, to want to be a part of, to be excited about, and all these other things I think that people are getting upset about on a regular basis are just irrelevant. It's just like focus on what you want the world to be like, how you can be a part in that. And to me, it's just spreading the good news, being a good neighbor, doing sound healings and things like that make the world that place that I want it to be, be the change you want to see in the world. So I'm excited.
It's like pure freedom.
Yeah, imagine just the fact that if nothing else, if we all had free energy, like if we had electricity and we didn't have to pay for gasoline and to heat our homes and for water, and like these things are just, distributed freely because energy is free, because you can just extract it from the ether. Nikola Tesla proved that, and others. How much suffering would be lifted? How much suffering happens because people don't have energy and water and food and things like that, and lights, heat. How much you would be able to travel and go do more, like how much less an airplane ride would cost if it didn't have gasoline, jet fuel, whatever you want to call it, So just that one thing alone would be life-changing on this planet. So, the fact that we could have free energy and, new politics, new education systems, just new world and new life and a new way of living, and maybe a fourth or fifth or more dimensional life, I think that's super exciting.
Yeah, so I want to encourage everyone to not get too wrapped up into the chaos of the world, because it's a part of the purging process of how it's the purging of the old paradigm, and it's something that we have to witness, and all we really have to do is witness it. We don't have to dip down too far into it,
Right, it's purification, like we get our hands get dirty and we go wash them. We're not worried about those germs on there. We just wash them off, and that's it. And that's the end of that world for those germs. They're dead, they're gone. So I think it's the same thing. The world has to purge every so often, and we are in that time. And you either get with the program of living sustainably, or you die with the old world like the dinosaurs.
Right. Yeah, and I think part of that process of being more free and coming into that new system of freedom is becoming free right now. It's like freedom from the medical system is one, and you can have health freedom to where you don't rely on anyone for your health, and hopefully get to a point to where we're not relying on anyone for money. It's like we're becoming free with our own businesses and being an entrepreneur, being healthy, and just freeing your mind, really.
Yes.
From the old matrix.
For your mind, and then for your heart, because I think that's even the more powerful of the two, your brain and your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Purifying the vessel.
Yeah, purifying the vessel, and then this, that's what enlighten means, lightening up, like,
Right.
purifying it.
Light. It's like getting rid of the old dense energy.
Yes, yeah, light up, feel, and I mean, that's obviously how you levitate. You don't have any old baggage,
Right.
You can literally levitate because you're just light, you're just light energy. You're enlightened. That's all you are, and like, that's really what we are, but we, like I said, we pack on these negative emotions, these things, and hold on to them, and hold on to this baggage, and have these attachments, and like, I feel like that's what we need to do. Just let go of things, move on. Don't hold on to old energies or to old feelings, and lighten up. And I think the world would be that much easier for all of us if we were to let go and just kind of be in the here and now, and lighten up. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that wraps it up.
Wraps it up for today, right?
All right, cool. Keep your eyes peeled because we're going to make another video on.
We are, yeah.
We're going to talk about how to free up the body and become enlightened through the process of the temple, and how to. We're going to go into all that stuff.
Super exciting. Awesome. Thank you. That felt really good, Randy.
Yeah.
Yeah.